Hey gamers, we're back with another episode of Let's Create a Competitive Card Game. In this episode, we'll go ahead and take a look at the last few effects for the Magician followers, as well as take a look at the second concept for Relic 20. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so last episode we came up with the first few effects for the Magician followers, as well as we took a look at the first concepts for Relic 20 and 21. So what I'll do is, as usual, I'll post a link to that video up here. And yeah, let's go ahead and start looking at effects. Alright, so the first effect that I came up with was when this card enters the play area, you may target one non-companion card and return it to its owner's hand. So again, magicians are all about making things disappear, aka bouncing things from the play area back to the owner's hand. Now that effect, or rather that type of effect in itself, is only a stall effect. So these magicians will have to have some decent support cards in order to deal damage. Plus these effects are reusable if cards are bouncing themselves or magicians are bouncing themselves and reusing their effects. So yes, so the art description that I ended up coming up with for this card, and a lot of the art descriptions are the same for these magicians. I really couldn't think of a way to really explain how I want the disappearing to look within the cards. So for this artifact, I said maybe a magician going outside and making someone disappear. So again, it's the artist can do whatever she wants with that, as it is for a lot of these magicians rather. Alright, so the next effect I came up with was at the end of your turn, if this card dealt damage to your opponent, you may return one follower to its owner's hand. Now this is an effect, like I was previously saying, where a magician can bounce another magician to reuse its entering play effect. So this sort of gives you an endless loop of bouncing things as long as you're able to deal damage to your opponent. So say if this was a lower cost card, then it would have less attack and defense, so the likelihood of dealing damage to your opponent and living probably wouldn't be too high. And if this card had a super high cost or a lot of attack, it would probably end up being too powerful. So when I'm setting the attack and defense for this card, I'm probably going to make it sort of mid-tier, where you probably need to pump it up to beat some of the higher level cards. But yes, so the art description which I gave the artist for this card was that I wanted a magician holding playing cards with a drop of blood on it, and someone looking at a cut on their hand while they are disappearing. So that is a little bit different from some of the other disappearing effects. Alright, the next effect I came up with was once per turn, you can discard one follower with Mind Loyalty to have your opponent return one follower in the play area to their hand. So essentially, you discard one mind follower and your opponent has to bounce one mind follower. Now, I did use the word loyalty, as that is a keyword I was playing around with, whereas cards that are loyal to mind can only be used in mind. However, that doesn't really make sense, and I'm gonna have to reword this, as the class card actually tells you what cards or what guilds will follow it. So some class cards may say that only mind cards will follow this, some will say only mind warriors, or some will say only mind magicians. And I know I said mind warriors, that is technically a possibility within the game, as every guild can have every card class type, if that makes sense. So there could be magicians in the Warriors Guild who are more geared toward combat than the magicians in the Mind Guild. Now, let's see, the art description which I gave the artist was essentially just a magician making a mentalist disappear. That's really all I could think of. And just going back to the effect, this does have you discard a mind follower, so this does open up the possibility of, say, the Mind Guild having class types, which get some effect when discarded. Those will go nice with this effect here. So yeah, so the last card effect I came up with was when this card deals damage to your opponent must return one card in the play area to their hand. So this is similar to one of the other effects. Now, let's see. Yes, so this effect was they could only return one follower to their hand. And this effect is return any card. So this is by far the stronger effect, as this can make you return companions to the owner's hand. And remember, if a companion leaves the play area before their temporary time is up, then they are removed from play. So this effect inadvertently is really good at dealing with companions. Alright, so the art description which I gave the artist for this card was that I wanted a magician holding cards and someone choosing one. So again, it's kind of similar to the one right before, where they're holding the cards out with a drop of blood and someone looking at the blood on their hands, but I think it is different enough that the artist can sort of have a different idea for that image. Alright, so these are all the card effects for the Magician Guild, or sorry, the Mind Guild Magician class type. All the other Magician cards will be vanilla, and they will kind of fit in between the cracks where these effects are not. So say these are cost, and this isn't how the costs are going to be, but just as an example, this is cost 2, this is cost 5, this is 7, 4, 1, 2, etc. These will be able to fit into the cracks and say be a cost 3 or a cost 4, etc. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over the effect for Relic 20, and then we'll hop over to Photoshop and look at the new concept which the artist has given. Alright, so the effect for Relic 20, which was a life relic, was once per turn during your turn, you may send a card you control to the discard pile to gain life equal to that card's attack or defense. And reading this time, I'm seeing a potential combo with this card and an effect I have in mind for pyromancers, which are they can burn, or when they leave play they can burn. So if you were to mix this with a pyromancer, you could send that card to the discard pile, and then your opponent would be burned life and you would gain life. So that is a real good combination for life, as remember, life both gains life, and on the complete opposite end they take away life. Alright, and the art description again, which I gave the artist, was that it should be a group of clerics sacrificing an unwilling cleric. So I'll go ahead and hop over to Photoshop now. Alright, so here's the initial concept for Relic 20. Again, the one that I ended up choosing was the first one of these, and I didn't really like the second one, as it had a very pirate feel to it. Like maybe this was the side of a ship and this guy is walking the plank, and clerics wouldn't really be, I guess clerics could technically be on pirate ships, as they would need someone to, I guess, heal them. However, I did not like this one. Now, as for the third one, I liked where this was going. However, I wanted the cleric to be resisting, the one who's being sacrificed, and in this image at least, it doesn't look like this cleric here is resisting at all. So I went ahead and went with the first one, as he could be trying to push up or something like that. Now, what was I expecting in the second concept? Well, essentially the same as usual, more detail, some coloring, etc. And I did mention last episode that I did have a conversation with the artist, and the images where they lack detail, I will still accept those, and I'll see how the final images or the third concept, if there is one. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at the second concept for Relic 20. Alright, so this is the second concept for Relic 20, and yeah, it's in the style that I don't really like. It doesn't really have a lot of detail, but it has enough detail that I can sort of see where this is going. And again, I do like the artist's work, so I have no doubt that I will like it when she is finished or presents the third concept. Now, yeah, there's really not much to say about this. It's just really the same image just colored in. It looks like they may be in a cave, as I see some torches. There looks like some light here, and maybe the darker background is a cave. It looks like there's water here, so maybe a huge statue in the mouth of a cave or something like that. So yeah, I do like this, and I did tell the artist to go ahead and proceed. She will definitely add more detail in the next concept. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and show the side-by-side. Alright, so here's the side-by-side of the two concepts, and as you can see here, the artist really did just fill in the coloring. She did add a background here. Let's see, she added a base to the statues, she added some water. The clerics are now holding torches actually, so they look more like a mob. Let's see. Okay. This statue is holding a bowl with water spilling out, which could not be seen here. So I do like that touch there. So yeah, what am I looking for in the next concept? Honestly, just more detail. Like I said, I will accept them this way, expecting more detail in the next concept. And if there's not more detail in the next concept, then I'll just ask the artist to redo that concept. So yeah, that's really all I'm expecting is more detail. So yeah, hopefully next episode we will have some art on a Monday so we can get back on schedule with the videos. I know I've kind of been doing a normal let's create a card game where I'm doing the card effects and also the art edition in the same episode, and that's really just because of the timing that the artist has started sending these concepts over. So she sends them over Wednesday night / Thursday morning now, so I do the video once I receive them. So yeah, if you like these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, and all of that other good stuff. Thanks.